Good morning.
Good morning. So there's something I'd like to talk about that I'm noticing is coming up more and more in emails that we're getting. And it's in level 2, there is a lesson where we work with the triangle of victim, persecutor, and rescuer.
Mm-hmm.
And what we say there is that if you have one, you have all three. And most people have all three. So the emails are demonstrating that, meaning people are noticing victim, persecutor, rescuer in the world and in themselves, and they're asking for clarity about it, what it all means, and how to get rid of it.
Sure. So this is something that we talk about in level 2,
Mm-hmm.
and actually reviewing it often is probably a good thing. So the concept is victim, rescuer, persecutor. I go to work and they don't like me, and I go home and kick the dog, and then I go next door to fix Sally because she's a mess. So victim, rescuer, persecutor, rescuer. So what happens where people get stuck a lot of times is it is interrelated, those three things. So if you are a victim and you say, I'm going to get done with being a victim, I'm going to not be a victim, what happens is the other two intensify. Unconsciously, they basically intensify. And so you get angrier because it's all coming out. It's instead of being the victim and holding it in and holding the attention on it, I'm going to let it go, and then I get angry about how I've been victimized.
Mm-hmm.
And then I scream at the dog that much more, but I'm a nice person, so I should help people so that I'm not a victim. And then you wind up going through the loop, and then the person that you're helping says, please stop coming over here, you're bothering me. And you're a victim again.
Yeah.
So one of the things, it's not odd that people are responding more so, because this level of becoming conscious of being conscious is starting to become more pronounced. You can't take your baggage with you on this journey. We say that often. But with these changes that are coming about, these huge waves of light that are coming into everybody's awareness, into the earth, changing the game, you can't take your baggage with you. So you're beginning to find that stuff that you've avoided or haven't paid attention to or don't even believe is there is starting to rise to the surface. That's one side of it. The other side is that's happening to everybody. And so everybody, collective human consciousness, is off balance. They can't take their baggage with them either. But the average person on the street has no concept of what's happening to them.
Right.
And so everybody who's playing at this level of mastering alchemy, it's of use to review this concept. If you're getting angry or you're feeling done to, or I'm lonely, nobody likes me, is an example. That's part of, poor me.
Mm-hmm.
So if you find yourself in poor me, or it's not working, and how come they don't like me, you might just recognize that's all coming up to be let go of. And then recognize, are you getting angry at somebody else? And are you then feeling like you have to fix the world because? So it's a loop. It's a triangle.
Well, one of the things that people are saying is that they can recognize one in themselves, but they don't recognize the other. So, so do they just assume, even though I don't see that I'm a persecutor or a rescuer, assume that that's in there somewhere?
Well, assume, I would become conscious of it, not necessarily assume. And what happens is we go into reaction to something, and the reactionary state is I'm going to get angry at them, and so I victimize them, or I become better than them because I have to stand up. I'm really not this victim at all. I'll show them.
Yeah.
And so you wind up having this reactionary response. And then you go into a level of guilt somehow, possibly. And so I'm going to give back to others who are lesser. But still you're in the lesser, greater than kind of relationship. And it just all touches. So it's something that is necessary to be aware of as a pattern that encompasses 3 different components.
And I'm guessing that each of those, victim, persecutor, rescuer, could be very subtle.
Oh, very subtle. It's in judgments. It's in observing somebody from a better than or lesser than position.
And even giving to others is that rescuer. Even though the other needs to be given to, someone who's down and out, whatever that means, who needs a healing, clearly needs something, are you giving it to them from that triangle?
Yeah, and often what happens even in that triangle is you're giving, and then all of a sudden they're taking from me, and they're not appreciating it, and they're not saying thank you, and there's your victim all over again in the subtleness of, so, giving with no conditions. That this whole place we talk about, it's not a 50-50 game. It's not I give to you and then you give to me, and it's got to be balanced out. It really is. It's 100% about you. 100%. I'm creating for me. I'm enjoying for me, and 100% from giving to others.
Well, that's the Project Park Bench too.
Very much. And so when you start to recognize it's 100% for me, in my simple example is you hold the door open and somebody says thank you with their arms full of groceries, I feel good, and they were grateful. And so both of us walk away, and there's no, well, they didn't say thank you, or they weren't even grateful, and I'm not going to hold the door open anymore. There's that subtleness back into defeating the purpose of just simply enjoying for yourself. And in that case, the victim, rescuer, persecutor triangle begins to dissipate because you're viewing it from another position. We talked a couple weeks ago about sitting on the other side of the table.
Right.
And it's the same thing here. If you can basically, how do I get happy and give to others, you're going to find that that smile comes back, that thank you comes back, that all of a sudden, for no reason, a new job interview comes in. You start to be open to having for yourself. And that whole patterning, whether it's victim, rescue, persecutor, whether it's the blame and guilt, two sides of the same coin. When I start to be caring about me, liking me, giving to me, not at somebody else's expense, just having and then recognizing, now I have more to give. I'm happier, I'm more comfortable. Those games of third dimension begin to just go away. And so it's, am I happy in and unto myself? Am I giving to myself? Am I enjoying myself? It might be as simple as just walk down to the coffee shop and sit there and say hello to 3 people for no reason. Just, hey, nice to see you. How are you? That's it.
Right.
And then feel good about it and walk back home.
Yeah.
That's the little things that make this change.
When I went through level 2, it wasn't called level 2.
It was in the Stone Ages. Yes.
Stone Ages.
Right.
And I did that lesson, and using the Mastering Alchemy tools, the Rose, Grounding Cord, Eighth Ray, El Shaddai, whatever tools you have, what I did is I worked the entire triangle.
Yep.
Rather than, today I'm just going to work victim, I'm going to release that. Each time I did the energy work, it was all 3.
Yeah.
And what I remember doing is identifying an example in my life of where I did this or this or this. Just as not to beat myself up, but just to identify, oh yeah, there is a pattern.
Sure.
And I worked it as a triangle rather than individually.
Yeah, yeah. But you also had a set of tools that the average person doesn't have. And these tools are really from a different place of looking at it from some other position. So the 4th, 5th, 6th ray, the 8th ray, these are really potent tools that you see, we've talked about it so many times, that your thoughts and your emotions create this electromagnetic field that just holds I'm not okay in place. And this 4th ray allows you to begin to recognize that just because I put it together and it happened in my past doesn't mean it's fixed forever. So some people aren't playing and mastering alchemy. This will be a strange concept, but your past is not fixed. Mm-hmm. It's simply information that allows you to choose differently today, unless you wrap the emotion into it that I'm so bad because. So once you start to play with that eighth ray and the ability to unravel all the strings, the stickiness of the unconscious mind's belief system, it just goes away. And so you start to view from a different point sitting at the table, as we talked about previously.
And a lot of times what I've heard in my own experience, that stuck energy, belief, emotion goes away, but it goes away in a way that you don't even notice.
Yeah.
So for myself, and I've heard many people say, I'm doing this work, I'm not sure it's working. However, I found myself in this situation that used to light me up, and I used to get angry, and I no longer react the same way.
Right. So we've said this lots of times. So what happens here is really a pretty remarkable thing. First, it's impossible to be not okay. We try really hard. We work really hard at being not okay, but you can't be not okay. So just if that begins to be a concept that is acceptable, everything begins to change. The other thing is when you start to recognize that these patterns are all leaving, a couple things happen. A great portion of those patterns, they don't even belong to you.
Right.
You just stepped into a situation, an event was going on, and you made an assumption it was about you. When more often than not, you were just a bystander, but you held on to it, and then you embellished it by, oh, they don't like me, they're never going to like me, this means, oh, this is, and you begin to wrap this thought around the emotion. When you start to recognize that that has no value to you, and you decide you let it go, not only does the entanglement of the emotion and the victim aspect go away, but after a short period of time, you don't even remember that ever happened because it wasn't your baggage to carry.
Right.
So that whole memory structure just evaporates because it's not even yours. And that's where I watch people just really begin to have a very different life than they have had in their 3D growing up space.
And it's all about the tools. If a person doesn't have a tool, a strategy, a method to step out of that, they'll just stay there their whole lives.
They just repeat the process over and over.
Yeah.
So, well, let's just talk about tools for a second, because it's particularly now, this whole world as we've known it, two things are going on. It is in a significant rapid change. You can't take your baggage with you, so all this stuff is coming up. So finding tools that allow you to navigate that is very valuable. Plus, the tools are going to allow you to start to recognize that a lot of what my emotion, my mood, my off balances, my uncertainty, it's not yours. It's all of the humanity in their off balances pushing it against the edge of your aura. And so that one fundamental tool to mastering alchemy, if you can define where you start and stop, where the edge of your aura is, and you can stay on your side and allow that to be Shakespeare's theater, simple concept, enormous changes occur, and your ability to navigate begins to be without victim, rescuer, persecutor.
Yeah.
So, good. I'm glad you brought that up. That's a good review topic.
Yeah,
So,
I think people will like to hear that again.
yeah, hope that's helpful for all of you.